Good. So, welcome to our July user group meetup of the PowerShell user group in Salzach in Germany. Hello and welcome, everybody. First, to speak about our code of conduct. So, be kind to each other, be respectful to everyone that you are talking to today, and in the in your environment and so on. So thank you very much for respecting our code of conduct. So many thanks to our sponsor Synergy. Thank you for sponsoring, and also thank you for delivering a PSConf EU last month. Thank you for doing this. Looking forward to be back again in June 2026 in Germany when it's happening in Wiesbaden. Thank you very much for this. And also thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here on Gather to do the meetup. Thank you very much. Good. Just a little introduction who I am. I am Konstantin. I live in Germany, in Bavaria, in the south of Bavaria. I'm at an MSP. We are around 200 people, and we deliver services for our customers. I'm reachable via Blue Sky. The first handle is my handle, and the second handle is the handle of my user group. You can also speak to me on LinkedIn, and I think that's I'm on the Discord in the PowerShell Discord or so also. Good. So call for papers are open. That's also how we two got connected, Morten. Thank you for handing in your session. I'm booked out till December this year, I think. We'll start in January with also a session I have planned with someone. Just have to come up with a date. But if you want to submit something, CFPs at Sessionize are open. Just submit your session. I will get in touch with you, and we will work something out. Good. Yeah, session will be recorded. Thank you, Gio, for recording. And mute your microphone. I will monitor the chat or just go to the Q&A area in front of the stage to ask a question. If you would like to take a seat, you can hear us speak. Good. And the last thing is we are at the PowerShell World. So if you go to meetup.com/PowerShell-World, where I'm also a member of, or my user group also a member of, you can see all the other meetups that are happening inside of this world. So Belgian PowerShell user group is there, UK user group, another user group in Germany is there, and so on and so forth. So just check that out, that you that we will get a little bit more visibility and so on. Just a little thing from my side. So if you are interested in PowerShell Conference Europe, it's over this year, but we will have, or PowerShell, the PSConf EU will have a minicon this year. It's happening at the 14th of October. It's also my birthday, so good. It will be it also happens on this platform, and we will have sessions and can meet each other and so on. It's free, so you can already shoot your tickets like I did 1 week before. 1 week before, so just to meet the PowerShell community, the PowerShell team, and so on. And there will be some sessions, and also maybe some news for PSConf EU 2026. Let's see. Just to make some advertisement. Good. Then today's speaker is Morten Mynster, I think. I hopefully pronounced the name the last name correctly again. Let's see.
Sounded great.
Perfect. Just share your screen and start. Thank you for being here and speaking to us. Thank you very much.
Anytime. And just to get started, I don't do PowerPoint really, so I made a README instead. I'll give the short version for you guys, but if you want to know more, then I'll share a link for the repo. This is also where the code will be hosted if you need it later as well. Let me just put it in the chat. So if you want, you can follow along. You'll still need an app registration. So yeah, if you haven't set that up, then it might be a bit hard to follow along straight away. But my name is Morten Munster. Live in Denmark with my wife and our 2 kids. Got a second one just 3 months ago. My primary day-to-day work contains or involves PowerShell, infrastructure as code with Terraform, and
we don't hear or see anything in the back from the speaker.
Just you are. Oh, okay.
I'm in the Q&A now. So.
Yeah. You see something there, or
in the Q&A I see something. Yes.
Okay.
But
so
not
and if you take a seat, do you see something there?
No.
No. Okay. Gilbert, how about you?
Yeah, I don't see anything when I'm sitting down. Actually, I didn't realize Morten was presenting until I got up.
Okay.
I think Morten has to be moved in front because he's far away from
Morten has to go to the has to go to my area. To
Morten,
my
you
area.
need to take the tile just where I am at the moment on stage. Okay. So in front of the desk of the lectern.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So if you are, if you go beside me, so, and then I think then everyone will see you. Perfect. Good.
It should be working now. Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you
Great.
for mentioning it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Right. Great. We didn't get started straight away. But as I said, I primarily work with PowerShell automation, primarily in the server environment and Azure. And then I do a bit of user management as well. I do some infrastructure as code at my company with Terraform. And then I do dabble a bit in Python as well, building some web UIs and such. I think that is a bit about me and what I primarily will work with. And if you want the long version, also my socials, I am only on LinkedIn and then I'm on Discord as well. Both in the PowerShell user group or PowerShell Discord channel and on the PDQ Discord channel. You'll primarily find me there, but if you need me in the PowerShell one, just tag me. The thing we'll cover today is MSGraph, and what we'll primarily cover is something that can be a bit annoying, especially for beginners using MSGraph, handling next pages, so getting the next set of results from the given endpoint that you requested. We'll talk about throttling, so status code 429. So when you request too much information, you're probably getting this one and have to handle that as well. Then we're going to talk about filtering. Not so much to say there for now. Then we'll also cover some searching, which is automatically a given that when you make a search, it automatically becomes an advanced filter, so to speak. And then we're going to go a bit deeper on advanced filters after that. And finally, we'll do some batch requests as well. And as I told Konstantin before the session started, I'm still a bit new at presenting, started back in January this year. So if you have any feedback, please let me know as well.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Perfect.
You're welcome. And let's just dive into the code as well. Please let me know if
Can you also zoom in a bit?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is that better?
I think one more. Correct? Everything good? Perfect. Perfect.
I hope so, at least.
Just get a hands up. Yeah, perfect.
Great. The first thing we have to do, and it's not something I'm going to cover in this session, is authentication. I think at least there's been plenty of sessions on different methods of authentication. And if you need help with it, then I would strongly suggest that you use a module made by Fred Weisman, I think it's pronounced.
Fred Weinman, yeah.
Yeah, Weinman, yeah. He made an awesome module called IntroAuth, which also handles token refreshing when you're using a personal access token as well. So definitely check out that module if you need some assistance on authentication.
And just a spoiler from my side, so we will have someone also I think in October in the user group who will talk about the whole Entra authentication and so on. So
great.
Yeah, just stay tuned for this.
Yeah. So just by skipping done and having that out of the way, we're going to go down to the next page. And just to take a very basic or simple example, we're looking at the URLs for users, and we're just trying to get all users. In this user variable, we will have a OData next link property. And this is basically just the link that you have to send your next request to. And the way Graph at least knows what you're searching for is, it's probably just easier to copy this, that it has this skip token. So it knows how much information you have gotten already, and then it can actually look further down this path by using the skip token to get the next set of data. It's not really the users that we are continue getting. We are actually looking at app roller assignments in the for each loop here. So we've just gotten the first 100 users of this link, which is the default page size for anything MSGraph. We could increase this to 999 as well, just by specifying top 999, which is the first 100 users. And then we would get all of users at once instead. In my case, I only have 109 in this tenant, so not much more data. Going over the for each loop, and I'm just going to go through the code before I actually go down to the handling or running the code. But we're going through, first we're creating an array to actually store our results. Then we are specifying the URL we're going to hit. So in this case, it's under users. We're taking the user ID from our properties up here. And then we are just looking at the app role assignments, and we're only getting the first result. The reason I chose the first result is just so we can actually see this next page happening, because some users might only have one, some users have 0, and other users have a bajillion in your company probably. And just to give some output, we're writing what the actual app role assignment is. Then we're adding it to our array, and then we're going into the handling of the next link. So we're just saying do, and looking at the app role assignment, looking for the OData next link. Then we're setting our URL, the URL that we're actually going to hit, to be this value of the OData next link, and then just invoke REST method again, add it as a range. You can also just add it if you only have a single property. And the while statement is just saying, do this until you no longer have a property in the OData next link. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. And just to see it in action, I think we should just run it. I actually think I should have had that one down here. So let's just take a look at the variable script. And we're looking at app role assignments. Actually think it was at the top. And we already got a few because I set the breakpoint a bit late. In the app role assignments variable, we have the property OData next link, which gives us a user ID. Let me just see if I can copy this value just so it's a bit easier to see as well. I guess I didn't copy the value. So it's basically just saying that we need the user's endpoint. We have the app role assignments. We are still only selecting the top one. And we have our skip token, which lets Graph know where we at. If there's any questions so far, please let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that's all there is to handling next pages. Mm-hmm. This small section of 10 lines will handle it for you.
Okay, so just a bit of a tip, what I got also from PSConf EU. So if you scroll up to your for each loop, you don't have to. You can just write $app role, just $all app role assignments equals for each user in users.value.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's just for a tip. So you can do this, and then you will get also a generic list out without instantiating it first.
Correct.
So that's
then you wouldn't need these 2 lines.
Yeah,
3 lines.
Yeah. So that's so you can write it like this, which I do also. I also instantiate my stuff first, but just for a tip for everyone or for the recording, you can write it also like this. That's a little bit of a short form.
Correct. And just to make sure that it actually works.
Yeah.
Which it should, but just to show it.
So just for curiosity, what do you think about the? So are you doing only normal Graph API stuff directly with API calls, or are you using the Microsoft.graph modules also? What's your opinion around this? Or
personally, I have run into too many times where a given endpoint hasn't been available in the module yet. And not in the beta module either. So personally, I always use invoke REST method to the corresponding URL, and I personally love it after getting used to it. Also because I can easily translate those skills to interacting with other APIs as well, because I already have the base foundation of what is an API, how do I call it, how do I get anything out of it. So for me, at least, it has helped getting a better understanding of understanding APIs and how you can utilize them.
Okay, good. Yeah, then I think we are nearly the same. And so I don't want to bash the commandlets. They have definitely their purpose, but yeah, it can be a bit challenging also to use them because it's not so easy to use them because it's more developer focused, so can be a bit challenging. So yeah, and it's a good thing that you showed the invoke REST method also way only. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
nice.
And also the MSGraph module is auto generated, so it's not.
Yes.
There's no human behind coding it and making sure that it actually works as intended. So sometimes you'll also see an error on. I believe it's only about half a year ago or maybe earlier. I don't really remember, but there was some issues with the AC or not the AC module. Yeah, I actually think it was the AC module, and I'm not sure if that is auto-generated as well or not, but it had an issue with authentication, which made every other sub-module that was in that package not work either. So
yeah, that happens fairly often. Yeah, but the AC modules are better quality than the Microsoft Graph modules. And if you want to have some documentation around them, because it's also auto-generated, it can be frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with the monthly cadence of updating and so on. So that can also be a challenge for production environment and so on. Yeah.
I know at least for our environment, we have quite a few modules, and when update comes around, it's a bit of a pain if you don't do it straight away.
Yeah.
Because then you just suddenly have a lot of backlog to look through for big breaking changes or any changes to parameters or any changes on how you need to supply a value or how you receive a value.
Yeah. You have to test everything every month and so on. Yeah. Good.
Any other comments to the first part? Just
any questions or so? I will just go to the Q&A area or write them in the chat. I will forward them then.
Sounds good.
Good.
Moving on to throttling. The status error code 429. And just to actually get one, I'll just leave this one running. It says on the service-specific endpoints that it only receives 4 requests for every 5 minutes on this endpoint, but I found that to be incorrect. So it usually fails at around 100 to 120. But just to show the actual error, it failed right there at 91. I'm sure if you have worked with MSGraph that you actually have received this message as well. Too many requests from X. And the only way to handle it is to wait around a bit and then try again. If you have something specific where you are requesting large amounts of data and your endpoint is, let's just say, a bit more hold back in regards to how many requests you can send, an improvement to it could be something like selecting the properties that you need to reduce the amount of data that a graph actually has to send to you. I'll get to that a bit later as well, but just letting you know now. Or you can specify a filter that we're getting to a bit later to actually reduce the amount of data MSGraph will send you. Then you won't hit the 429 error as much. You'll still hit it, but not as much. But this was just to show the error. Now let's go on to handling it. Every time you receive this error for 429, you'll get a status code 429. And within the headers of the response you receive on this error, you'll also get a header called retry after, which contains an amount of seconds that you have to wait before you actually hit this endpoint as well. And just to note it, not all of the Graph API endpoints I found actually have this. Most of them have them to my experience, but not all of them have that. So just check if it exists on the given endpoint when you're handling your error. And if it doesn't exist, then just set a delay for 30 seconds because it will most likely work after 30 seconds. That seems like it is the default value for most of the throttling endpoint. And this is only going to run once because I didn't have a good example of actually getting multiple results where I would consistently get a throttling message. But I had to come up with a way to show you. So showing it first up at the top with the 429 error, and then showing a solution to actually handling it. I also put links in the presentation files or the code to the documentation on throttling or next page or filter if you need it for reference. Any questions for this part? No. And then let's move on to filtering. Filtering is quite useful for everyone using Graph because it lets you narrow down your result using the graph instead of having to use your own resources to filter the data afterwards. That's one bonus of it. The other bonus is that it is much faster for the graph to handle the filtration instead of you having to request all of the data and then filtering it. I'm actually not sure if I added a timer on this specific one, but I did on an earlier presentation I made at PDQ. I thought I did at least. Guess not. But just letting you know, it is much faster to get Graph to filter or use the filter in MSGraph instead of using PowerShell to filter the result.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give an example of a filter, you simply write filter equals, then you could say starts with, then you have to supply the property that you want to log in. So in this case, the user principal name has to start with, and then Morten, which is my name. Then I could also include a select to reduce it even further. In this instance, just for showing it, I decided to do it in PowerShell and get a few different results. And that was pretty quick, so I don't think we'll have much of an improvement here. But let's just see. We can find something with a bit more of results. Bum, 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 bum. Could basically also just do this, just to get everyone. Took a bit. Let's just try and use measure command. And doing it on all of these. Might as well move this one down as well. Took 149 milliseconds. Not that lot, that much time, because it's not a lot of data that I have in my tenant. But we could say that we just wanted these properties, for example, then remove our select object and measure it again. And just by doing that, we can see that it reduced by 17 milliseconds on a small sample size of data. 109 users is nothing, but if you have 40,000 or 50,000, then it will do a lot for you. Any questions to this part so far?
Yeah, just for the recording. So I don't know if you will mention it later, but what language do you use for constructing the filter? Is there some kind of documentation of the methods and that you can use and so on? Is there anything, or what's the name of the filter language that you are using?
For all of the filters available, and it also describes single and primitive types, like a string or int or dates, for that matter. You have all of your operators down a list here in the query parameters section in use filter on the MSGraph API.
Could you zoom in a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that it helped that much because it's quite small on the website as well.
Oh, that's better. And I think it's an OData endpoint, right? The Graph API uses OData for returning, filtering, and so on. Yeah. Okay.
It is. If we look at the MSGraph API for /users, we'll also see, let's just go to list instead. We'll also see on this endpoint, if I can find it, that it has these optional query parameters. So it lets you know exactly which kind of filtering you can use on this endpoint. So specifically for users, you can use count. So if you just need to know how many users you have to, I don't know, for example, making a bunch of batch requests on a bunch of users, you might want to know count of how many users you have without having to request all users and all that data and then counting them. You can just request the count and get the complete result right away. You have an expand, which can expand properties that are nested within a given object. And the object structure for a user is also listed at the top. It will be for all of the documentation that you have the object type of a given property or resource or whatever it might be in MSGraph. You might not be able to request all of this data and filter on it and search for it, but you can expand it, filter a bit, and do some awesome stuff as well. A great example I actually have of this is we're using administrative units at my company in Azure. And to look in an administrative unit section for users, you have to get some pretty high permissions, which none of us really wanted to give out. But what you can do is give user read all permissions, which doesn't necessarily give you access within the administrative unit and request on that specific administrative unit, but it does let you get the group memberships of the user. And the group membership sections on the users will have an administrative unit type. So you can just look at the administrative unit and what it is linked to see if it's a member of it. But yeah, you have all of these properties specifically for users that you could. Some of them aren't available for filtering. Some of them are. You can also see on the given property which properties on the user that you can actually use a specific filter for and what options is available for this property.
Manuel. Hello, Manuel, by the way. Manuel has a question. Can you use more than one filter at once?
If you mean more filters than, or more than one filter in regards to saying that you want users that are in state Michigan and has a street address of, that's a really bad example because I don't know any streets in the US.
Everything good.
Let's say something from Denmark instead. You want every users that have a country that is Denmark, and their street address has to be, let's take city instead. That's easier. Their city has to be Herning. You can easily combine those two, and we can get into it a bit later, just to show it as well. But I think we should get back to.
Can you mix them up? So can you use a select and a filter in one query, or do you have to?
You can use both a filter, select, and
order by and so on also.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for this one, for example, if we are moving down to the next example I have, I'm filtering. I'm looking for user types that are equals to guest. And I also want to make sure that I'm only looking for users where the external user state is pending acceptance. So I'm looking for all guest users that hasn't accepted the invitation yet, and also has been created less than, I'm not sure what I set this one to, 3 months ago. So I want all guest users created within the last 3 months that hasn't accepted their invitation yet. And this is actually a specific example I also used at work. I'm also expanding the properties of these guest users with the member of property, which I can then look for administrative units on these guest users, because we have a team at my workplace that handles some guest users, which I am not allowed to clean up or do anything with. So I have to know if these users are in an administrative unit that is theirs, or if they aren't.
Okay.
So that's a specific specific case from work that I actually had to make use of it.
So with the expand property, so you bind, so the result that comes back from the expand, you're just adding it to the object that comes back.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
And just to show it, we could try it without it, just to start with. Bam. So for these ones, we have our business phone, we have a display name, given name, job title, mobile phone, office location, preferred language, surname, and so on. And let's just see if there is anything else actually, or if it cuts something off. No. These are all the properties we have. I excluded some just not to show them, but I created a lot of sample data for this presentation, so don't really care about it. It's not real data. And just to show the example with the expand member of, I'm not sure if this user is actually a member of anything. So yeah, it has the property member of, but I don't think I have any guest users that are a member of a group.
Okay.
But we could change that.
But you see the property now on the object.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
You see the property and you can go into it, and it's just another JSON array under this one. I don't actually remember if you have to convert it from JSON or not. But we could just try and add this user to a group.
Just if you're doing, I have another question from Jan. Is it possible to use clamps?
Clamps. I'm not sure.
I don't know what you mean by this, Jan. So if you go to the Q&A area, or just write something in the chat that we will understand this. Yeah. So you mean some opening bracket or closing brackets?
Oh, so you mean something like this, for example? I'm guessing.
So if you, I think yes, I think he means that. So if you're combining, because if you have a filter and an or statement or so, you have, I think you have to look the precedence of the and the or. That the results, like an LDAP filter, he said.
Yeah. You can. It can get quite complex quite fast, I would say. I don't have a specific example in this presentation, I believe. No, I don't think I have a specific example in this presentation. Let me just double check. Bum. No, I don't think I have a specific example. But I think to note, if you're going to do that, is the URL might be misinterpreted. So you might need to make sure that the URL here, instead of you having it in a string, that you actually convert it to a system web HTTP link through PowerShell, just to make sure that it is actually correct. But I believe, I actually don't think I have had the use case to do it.
Okay.
But I believe you can do it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Not sure, to be honest.
Everything good?
Yeah. And just to continue on the example of the member of.
Yeah.
I hope it answered some of your questions, or at least gave you an idea on how to continue in that regards. But yeah, after adding the user to a group, we can look at the property member of, since we have it expanded in our query. So that is data we're getting as well. So if you are going to request all of your users and then need to get all of their groups, that will be quite bothersome for the Graph API in regards to performance. So instead of doing that, then just expand the member often and look in that property, because most of the time and with most of the data available that you might need for a given user or a given object, you can expand for the most part, at least. I'm actually not sure if they have... Yeah, they have included the relationships on the different objects on which ones you can expand. So from the first example where I went to the next link and next link and next link, instead of doing that, I could just have expanded and then chosen the app role assignments, and I would have gotten all of the data when I requested the users instead.
So it's definitely a go-to to look at the documentation, because I think it's a really good documentation that you get from the Graph
Definitely.
API to check this. So just for your experience, are you or were you some kind of programmer or developer before that has used APIs before you come around the Graph API, or how easy or how difficult was it for you to navigate with this Graph API?
Well, I started with PowerShell as the first language, programming language, scripting language, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And the reason I started with it was to create a GUI for some of my fellow colleagues to create users. The basic startup that most people, I think, have.
Yeah.
After that, I needed to do some license management and add that to it as well. Where I thought, why not use the Graph API? At that time, I don't remember if it was a bug or if it was a missing feature in the module. So I had to figure out how to use the API. Fortunately, I had a colleague at the time who was very good, brilliant actually, on using both the Graph API and also the Azure Management REST API, who showed me a bit around, just enough for me to get started. And then he left shortly after. So had to pick it up from there and get going with it. And gotta say, after, I don't remember how long it took, but after getting started with it and getting really familiar with it and going on to, I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I would call myself somewhere in the middle between getting to know it and being an expert. It really just clicks, sort of. And the documentation, once you understand it a bit, then it's easy to read. You have all the information you need to make an API call and also request data and filter the data, expanding certain properties, because all of the relationships in the graph is interconnected, sort of. Yeah. And it also helped a lot with the developer tools in given browser to understand the different API endpoints.
Yeah, so it's like everyone that has spoken to it was challenging at first, but then if you can get used to and work with it a bit, then it's better. Yeah. Okay. Good. Like the same experience. Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Where did it come from? Member. And it basically just goes on like this. I mean, filters, once you have made a couple and start to understand them a bit, they get really easy to actually make and handle. This one is just filtering on groups. We're looking for all groups that isn't mail enabled and is security enabled. I don't remember what the group type is called, if it's a... Damn it.
I think you missed a quote. No, a opening bracket at the filter.
That I did.
Yeah.
Nicely spotted. I don't remember exactly what the group type is called, if it's a Office or Microsoft 365 group, or if it's a security group, or something else. I believe it's a security group, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. And my mouse is for some reason stopped working with scrolling. A bit annoying.
It's a mail-enabled security group, Manuel said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I don't work with Exchange or SharePoint. Another level to this is constructing advanced filters. I'm just going to show one here, and we're going to go a bit deeper into it a bit later on. But for advanced filters, or when you're doing searching or doing something with the... I'm actually not sure if it's called advanced filtering or if it's called... Advanced query capabilities.
Okay.
It shouldn't be an easy name. Why should it? You'll need an extra header in your request, which is called consistency level, which has to be set to eventually. And what it basically does is Microsoft has a bunch of servers, and all of these servers are syncing to each other. If you have made a change to, let's say, a user, it will take a while for all of the endpoints to be synced with the one you changed. For advanced query capabilities, it is with the consistency level eventually. It actually makes sure that across all of the servers, you're getting the latest data returned to you. So just a bit about the header. And let's just see. I just ran the query. We're looking at service principals. We want the count to be true. And once you're doing advanced query, don't even remember what it's called anymore. Once you're using an advanced query capability, you have to have count included as well. It's a requirement. Then we are selecting some different properties on this endpoint. And this string is probably a bit long. Further than that, we're searching. And just to note it as a bit of a heads up to you, if you're going to search for a property, you need to make sure that it is actually in the returned data from the select statement. So if you're going to search for a property on, let's say, a user, and that property isn't returned to you by default, you have to include it in a select statement. Otherwise, you won't be able to search for it. I think I have double quotes here as well. Might have been intentional. The search term we're looking at is display name. We're just looking for anything called demo. Then we are adding a filter to this as well. And this filter might look a bit weird, but we're basically looking at tags. We want any tag, which in the property tag, that is an array or such. So in this array, we can search for any given tag, and we're looking for anything that has Windows Azure Active Directory integrated app. And the account has to be enabled. I'm actually not sure if this one will return anything in my tenant. It will. Great. So for this property, if I'm allowed to print, looking at tags, we have a few tags in an array, and we have the tag Windows Azure Active Directory integrated app. So what this specific filter does is it looks at the tags property, it goes through this array, and if any of these tags contains Windows Azure Active Directory integrated app, it will be returned as long as the application is also enabled.
So the X:X is just the
normal.
X
is basically a property key value pair, so to speak. So the key is tags, and the value is Yeah.
So you have to tell the any just for the x colon x that it looking for a key value pair.
I don't really understand this thing here. I don't get why they didn't just, removed this part and said anything that is equals yada has to be returned. It has to have these x colon x, and it could also be SS.
Yeah.
And it would return the exact same thing to you.
I think that's that could be some OData weirdness, I think.
I think so as well. To be honest, from my point of view, I don't understand why it has to be included, but it has to be included. I'm just I looked at the documentation for this thing because it doesn't specify why it needs to be included. I think in the example here it is also, guess not. Yeah, it just says any property, and then you could go to a sub-property of this property. So let's say tags had another array under it, then you could go further down. So maybe it's just about nesting. Still don't make sense to me, but if there's anyone with a good explanation, I'm open to listening.
Nice. Any questions around this? I think it's a very complex example, but
it is indeed.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah. And from this, we're moving on to search. And we already did a bit of searching, but let's just do some more. And as I stated earlier, as soon as you're doing a search, you're suddenly doing an advanced query. I still don't remember what it's called, but an advanced query. And the syntax is almost the exact same as for filtering, but it can get a bit annoying with the extra quotes that you have to insert. You can just out-comment them or avoid them like you do with the $, and then just use regular quotes. Let's say you needed a variable here instead. It's much easier to do in double quotes than it is in single quotes. I think so, at least. For this one, we're looking at groups. We need the display name to be project, or the mail to be PowerShell enthusiast. And that's basically it.
So what you also could do, just a tip or just for the recording, if you have to deal with so complex strings, you can use some kind of format language. So use string format or use the f parameter in PowerShell, and do this bracket 0, bracket 1, bracket something, and with the f parameter you can specify your replacement for the open bracket 0, 1, and so on. So it can get a bit better, or it for reading the URI or for reading a string or so. Just for a tip. Yeah.
Personally, what I like to do with these URLs, because they, in my experience, always get to be so freaking long. So what I typically would do in production is something like saying base URI, putting that in there.
Get $1, yeah.
Then typing a V, just so I can change the endpoint that I'm going to hit. Then I always specify the endpoint I'm hitting, and then just making a query.
Yeah, I think if you're using Fred module, I think he does the same.
Yeah.
If you use the module of Fred, what was it called?
Intro auth.
Intro auth. I think he has a a commandlet inside of it.
Yeah.
Where you just have to specify your address after graph.microsoft.com. I think you can also specify it if it's V1 or beta, and then you only have to provide the other half of the query.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so as well. I know he has a invoke intro auth request. I think it's called.
Yeah. Something like this,
it, at least. Moving down a bit further. Let me just make sure that this one, I actually put this one in single quotes for some reason. But for this one, groups, looking at descriptions this time, has to be procurement, and the display name has to be procurement. And then we are adding a count to it as well. And just to look at the property, we're getting an OData or property with us, which is account. So if we had multiple apps that matched this search description, we would have a count on it as well if you needed to do something with that. For example, splitting it up or something else. But we also get the result of the description. And for the description, it just has to contain whatever you add. So for this one, it is all procurement team members. It has procurement in the middle, so it's a wildcard on both ends. And then the display name, if we have that somewhere, is procurement team. And I actually think I could put team here as well. Then we're probably getting a few. No, just getting the same. That would return everything with team and procurement in the description. And I'm guessing if we wrote team, we might get a bit more. Yeah, we got 25 this time. So it just goes to show that the searching is kind of a wildcard on both ends on whatever you're searching for, which can be nice, can also be a bit annoying because you can't specify that it just has to look for this or has to look for this. It has to be wildcards on both sides. Any questions on?
If you're doing search, then you have to provide the property, colon, and then the thing that you're looking for, correct?
The property, colon, whatever you're looking for, your search term on that property.
Yeah. And is the search case sensitive?
Not to my knowledge. I believe we would get the same amount on that. Yeah. So I don't think it's case sensitive.
Okay.
$25. And if we wrote it with a large T, 25.
Okay.
So not case sensitive, to my knowledge.
Okay.
Moving on to advanced filters, unless somebody has other questions for searching.
Moment not.
Nope. As I said before, when you're doing advanced filtering, you need the added header of consistency level eventually. Adding that to our authentication. And yeah, you can see I did it here as well, because the filtering part can pretty fast get pretty long. Another thing I had to do at work is identify all applications in our tenant that were used for development or testing or what's not. And for the most part, when our developers or programmers are testing, it's all done on their own PC. And when that happens, they are most likely to put in a redirect URL on an application to be localhost, which can be great. I learned that some hackers out there are exposing that in some way. I haven't looked into how they're exposing it. But just to let you know that there is a way to query it without having to go through each application to actually look for the given value. And for this, we're looking at the filter. We're going into the property web, going to redirect URLs, looking for any property because, again, the redirect URLs, that can be multiple. So we have to look at the properties, and then we also specify a search term that it starts with, and then our property that we are looking at, or the value. This is a key value pair. So our value has to start with HTTP localhost. And again, since it's an advanced query, we have to include the count as well. This result would be packed into a sub-property called web redirect URLs. So just to make it a bit easier, I'm unpacking it in the select object statement. But as you can see, it returned all the display names, which has been selected, and all of the redirect URLs on the given applications. And looking just at the value instead, we can see the web property. And within that, we have a lot of information on the given redirect URLs. But what we are only interested in is the actual URL.
So this method with the @ and the brackets and so on is how you construct your own property. So that's for this view, it's really interesting because you're using a property that is nested inside of this object. So so you can construct with this your own views. So it's a cool thing. Yeah.
Any questions to this part? Because this is quite complex, so I will totally get it if you don't understand it yet. It's just to show you that you can actually both filter on specific properties that are returned to you by default, but you could also filter on sub-properties of sort. It's not all properties that you can filter on. Referring back to the documentation, if we just look at application, yeah, it's actually search principle now that I think about it. Mm-hmm. And personally, I find it a lot easier to just Google a certain endpoint, just write MSGraph API, the endpoint. For some reason, it's easier than searching in Microsoft's own documentation, and I kind of hate it, but I've gotten used to it.
Do you use only the V1 endpoint, or are you making use of the beta endpoint also?
For most cases, if I can get away with it, I'll use the V1 endpoint, just because that is the long term. And as far as the documentation says, I haven't experienced it myself, but the beta endpoints or result are subject for changing in the future.
Yes, but some properties you're not receiving, because they are not making it to the V1. They stay in the beta endpoint. And if you also if you look at some Microsoft calls that some products of Microsoft did, they use the beta endpoint every day. So
yeah, if you go into, I'll show it in a bit, but if you go into MSGraph and look at the developer tools, almost every single call that they themselves make to Graph is on the beta endpoint. So it has to be stable of sort, because if they change something in the beta endpoint, they'll have to change it in their own portal as well.
Yeah. So it would be definitely interesting to know when a API is considered V1 and when it's considered beta and so on. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard a couple of years back. It still hasn't happened, but I heard a rumor a couple of years back that they were going to release a version 2 of the MSGraph endpoint.
Okay.
It hasn't happened yet. So I think the rumor was just that, just a rumor.
Or that the beta endpoint is version 2.
That could be the case as well.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't really gotten a clear definition on it.
Yeah, nice.
And let me just find.
Yeah, redirect. Well, that's a login URL.
It's not that one either. I thought the web would be here as well, or at least on the directory object, but let me just zoom out a bit because it's a bit easier for me to see.
Directory objects. Yeah. Just
I guess this one isn't a good example.
Yeah.
Which is a bit unfortunate. Let's just see if we can look at the get and see. I'll just zoom a bit. I'm kind of missing that same page that we had for users, which is a bit annoying because I think usually it is there, but for some reason I can't find it currently.
It's a reply URLs. Is it called reply URLs?
Not really, to be honest.
Yeah.
It
doesn't matter.
Unless they have used it to the V1 endpoint since I made it, then I'm not exactly sure. But I actually think I used the developer tools to come up with the query as well.
Yeah, so that is a thing that I think you will show later. But Jan is asking an interesting question. How long did it take to get familiar with advanced filtering? Interesting question.
I don't think I have a clear answer on it, to be honest.
I think it's just practicing. Correct?
Depends a lot on how much you have to use it, because if you're only having to use it once every 3 months, you're probably never going to be super familiar with it and will probably struggle each time you have to do it, unfortunately. But I used it for, or at least troubleshooted on it for maybe 7 or 10 days straight. And then it kind of clicked. And it wasn't just one endpoint, it was multiple. I had to figure out. So yeah.
Yeah, so
if
just practice.
In it for 10 days, then you might be familiar with it.
Yeah, so just practice and also ask community. They will help out and
definitely ask.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest regret from when I got started with PowerShell back in, I think, 2020, maybe.
Okay.
Is not reaching out to the community before I did. I first got involved back in January this year.
Okay.
So
yeah, so if you're on a Discord, PS Discord, go to Blue Sky, go to write your MVPs and so on. So they are quite happy to help you out if you have some problems. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
But hell, let's just take a look at what I have been trying to spoil for so long. On the graph, or rather on Azure, for each resource, and just to show it, developer tools, press F12 on your keyboard, or open the developer tools. Did they move that? Maybe. Either that or I am blind. Yeah.
Interesting.
Somewhere out here there is a developer button. I don't know where. Don't want to look for any further for it, but press F12 on your keyboard and you'll find it. Now go to the network tab, and most likely when you open it, can I get this back in the dark? It'll be in this side. That's pretty annoying. So for your own sake, press on the small 3 buttons and press on the pop out, because it makes it much easier. Then go to the network tab and press the fetch XHR tab. That'll reduce the amount of endpoints you're actually receiving here, which makes it a bit easier to look through. But let's just go to Microsoft Infra. Let's look at users. Let's add a filter. Let's say we want all accounts that are enabled. Let's add another filter that says, and I'm actually not sure where most of these users are from. It's just sample data. So let's hope there's something with I guess not. Guess not. Let's try country instead. Or department maybe. Department works. What else do they have? They probably have an email. So yeah, we constructed a filter here with 3 parameters, and we only got 1 result, which, if that is what you're expecting, that's great. Then you have all of these requests in the developer tools. And in most cases, if not 90% of cases, all of these batch, or all of these ones called batch, is request to the MSGraph endpoint. And if we look at the, we can look at the headers as well. It's always hitting the batch endpoint because Microsoft is trying to get as much data to your browser as fast as they can, which is using batching. I'll get back to that part. And then you have the payload that they are sending to actually get the result. And for this one, we can see that they are hitting the endpoint users. They're adding the select statement to show you only a select type of data. Further than that, on MSGraph, they are always only requesting the first 60 users for the UI. I'm guessing it's just because they don't want your browser to lag too much. And then you actually get your filters served to you right away in the browser. So the easiest way to get started with filtering and using filters in your scripts, instead of having to type where object account enabled equals true, and the department starts with P and the mail starts with A, just try and do the filter in the browser. It's easy, it's GUI, it's point and click, and then you can just copy this specific part and put it on your invoke REST method. And that's basically it.
Yeah, nice.
And if you wanted to order your property as well, you could copy paste that as well.
Nice.
But yeah, that's probably the way I got familiar with MSGraph. Look at the developer tools in the network tab, expanding these, trying something out. You can also copy it, copy as PowerShell.
Yeah.
Pasting that in. I'm not sure I actually took the correct one. Copy as PowerShell. Look for the $sign filter. And then it's also nicely formatted for you, ready to go.
Yeah. So I agree with Jan. It's a very useful tip. Thank you for this.
Yeah, of course.
But with the copy as PowerShell, it's also because I think you not scrolled to the left because there is your token there. So it can be can be a bit. So if you do
Your
a copy with PowerShell,
personal-
you will end up with the whole request and everything. So you have to get rid of something. And so you have to think about this if you really want to use the copy with PowerShell, but you can copy the
personally,
tools.
I would never copy and paste the exact PowerShell. I would only take certain parts of the copied PowerShell because it's also using invoke web request instead of invoke REST method. It can work. You have to convert it to JSON or from JSON yourself, but invoke REST method handles that for you and is in general a bit better at working with APIs.
Another question for you: do you use Graph Explorer a lot or not?
Unfortunately, on my work laptop, browser extensions is not allowed, so no.
No, the Graph Explorer. So if you go to graphmicrosoft.com and open the Graph Explorer page, do you use this a lot or not?
Yeah, I use the Graph Explorer quite a lot.
Okay.
It's basically the go-to test platform for any endpoint.
You can sign on with your corporate credentials to query your data, and you will also get some intelligence for what is expected after a slash or so on. So it can also be a good entry point for someone. Say here you get and then if you put a slash there or something like this, you will get intelligence what you can use. And for example, if you do replace the you do it like this, then you can say user ID or so on. So it's it can so the user ID has to be replaced by a real user ID, but you can have there some insight of how to construct such a query, and you have also some examples to the left. So that's also a good thing. And if you don't want to go to or connect with your corporate account, you can always use the sample tenant that Microsoft provided for you to test with some sample data.
And just an extra comment on the last part in regards to using the sample tenant from Microsoft. Not all of the endpoints will be available to you. Most of the post requests will not be available. The same goes for patching and deleting. You'll have this locked icon on the ones that isn't available to you, but everything goes. So even though there isn't an example for it here, almost all of the GET requests that you can think of can run in this tenant. You might not get a result, but it's a really easy way to get started and
also you can get a feeling for what permissions you need, because if you run the query and it's permission denied, or or you not have the rights because you are not giving the scopes for the thing, you can look at the permissions and it will say, okay, you will need this or this, and then you can consent to your permission if you're not having it inside of the scope where you authenticated first.
On a personal note, in regards to the modify permissions, I don't necessarily find that it is too good always. I would always look at the documentation of the given endpoint and seeing what permissions I should use for the different scopes that can be used.
So it's some kind of direction where this query will work, definitely. But I agree, because the user read write all is the highest privileges that you can have if you read everything. So yeah. Good. So just some side notes, but
definitely good side notes. I have to remember where I got from.
Line 68.
Yeah, I think it was this one. And just to continue on the looking for application that has localhost. If you wanted the opposite, you can also specify a not, or in PowerShell that would be an exclamation mark instead, to say that it is not this. But yeah, in my Microsoft Graph, it's not. And that would return every, or rather, all the other applications that wasn't returned by the top query. Moving on a bit, we can search on display name again, going to talk, or the email has to contain talk. And then we can also specify a filter to say that the mail enabled has to be false, the security enabled has to be true, and adding the count at the end because that's a requirement for advanced querying. And I guess I don't have anything that actually matches that query. I should maybe have tested that I got results from everything, but the query worked because I didn't get an error.
Definitely.
I'm actually not sure if we need to cover that much more on filtering. I have more examples, but
just a question on your date formatting that you are doing. So if you look at line 78, get date dash at days dash to string, does this always needs to be this date format to look for if you are searching for dates or so?
I would love to say yes, but I have found that it is both a yes and a no, because some endpoints just wants year, month, date.
Okay.
That's great. That's what we're used to. That's easy to work with. While some other endpoints want hours, minutes, seconds, and then this goddamn set in the middle of everything. Because why? I don't know. But the only way I figured it out was doing the developer tools. I don't remember if groups actually need this one, but personally, I haven't had any issues if I give it the full date time string instead of just using year, month, date.
Okay. So it's definitely a consistent experience, correct?
For me, at least, it has been. I haven't experienced any issues with it, but the first time I had to do anything with date, it worked with year, month, date. And then I thought, great, that's easy. Then I had to do some other queries and found out that why the hell doesn't it want to accept this date time?
Okay. So just use this date time and then you're fine. Perfect.
You will be in 99% of cases, yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, so just out of curiosity, because I saw that in your examples before then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Do we want more filtering?
Check
I don't think it has anything special. Yeah. Moving on to batch request. Probably the most exciting part about this presentation. Batch request from Microsoft is basically a way of running multiple queries at once. So let's say you have 5 different endpoints that you would like to get data from before your script can continue working. So you have a script, you're requesting data, you're doing something with the data, then you're requesting some other data, doing something with that data. Instead of doing it that way, which would normally make a lot of sense, you can request all the data at once and then do your actions instead. And moving down a bit, the batch endpoint will always point to this one. So every time you do a batch request, you'll point to this endpoint. Note that the version is also specified in this endpoint, which can be a bit annoying in regards to creating batch request, because all of your endpoints below, or all of the endpoints you're trying to hit, will run in this version. So you're either selecting version 1 or beta for all of the endpoints you're wanting to hit. And going into batch request, you can, as a maximum, do 20 requests in one request. so to speak. So you can request data from 20 different endpoints, or 20 endpoints in total, in one request, and get all of the data at once. And just to show the example here, we have a body, then we are packing in our request, and then we have a single request here. The ID, it doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be users, if you wanted to be that. So you could give it a naming standard. Personally, I just choose 1, 2, 3, 4 because then I can easily reference the data if I'm going to build it into a loop or anything. Then it's easier with account than specific custom names for each. Then we are specifying the method we'd like to use. In this case, we're using get. Then we're having your URL or endpoint that we want to hit. So we're heading users, the specific user ID. Then we're getting the manager property, and we're selecting the ID, display name, and job title. On the second request, we're again looking at that specific user, which I have defined up here, and looking at the user's app role assignments. And basically the same down here, looking at OAuth 2 permission grants. So everywhere a user has clicked accept or consented to specific permissions on a given application. And that is basically the structure for a batch request. In this, we have 3 API requests all in one go, and we're posting one time.
We have
following operations is not as supported by this.
Okay, so
I'm guessing it doesn't want this one. Let's just see if it were okay. URL. Authors. And our body.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I believe it should work.
Oh, we have.
Yeah, I think it worked this time. I might just not have. Yeah, it worked.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think I just was missing some of the initial.
Okay.
But yeah, and with that, we have our batch request, which is a collection of responses. And within these responses, you can see the IDs is suddenly jumbled all together. So in this case, it ran query number 3 first, then it ran number 1. And as the last one, or the last point of data that we received back, was number 2. And the reason for this is when you are sending this batch request to MSGraph, it takes all of the queries that you have, running them all at once, and then when the result gets back to MSGraph, it just puts it in straight away. So that's why the ID number 3 is first, because that's the first result we received. The second result we received was 1, and the third was number 2. Bit confusing, I know, but and
I think you have to do the ID, I think. Correct? Oh.
Let me just see. It might just be because it is in the body. And value. And then we have all of our data returned. And if we want to look at a specific response, could do something like this. Bum, 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 bum. And personally, I like to use for each object on a batch request because it just simplifies the responses instead. So if you have to do some different operations, you can make it for each object and then just do a switch on the given IDs if you want to, let's say, update some users that you received. and you would also like to update some groups, and you would like to update something else. And just looking at the responses, for response ID number 3, we received nothing. The value is empty, so this specific user doesn't have any manager. Pretty easy to handle. For the first response, we got, what did we request? We requested the manager, and we selected the ID, display name, and job title, which is what we have here. We'll also get the OData type that was requested, so we can see that this is a Microsoft Graph user, just so it knows how to handle the properties, I believe. And
so we have another question. So sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, of course.
From Jan again. Thank you, Jan, for asking so many questions. Is there a result limit for each entry, like 100 answers per endpoint?
It has the same result limit as any other endpoint.
Okay.
So if you're going to request users and you say top 999, you'll receive 999 users. If you don't specify anything, you'll just receive the 100 users. There's no for each loop or next page handling built into batch request, unfortunately.
Okay,
That
so you
would
have
be
to
too
provide
easy.
always how many results do you want and so on. Okay.
You don't have to provide it, but it'll just go for the default. Let's say you're in an organization with, let's say you're unfortunate and have 1,001 user. If you want to get that in a batch request, you'll first have to get the first 999 users, and then you'll have to handle the next page, which you'll also receive a OData next link. We can actually show it, I believe, if we just copy this one and point it directly at users. So, and we're looking for, damn.
Yeah.
I had to correct the ID as well. And that might have been a mistake. So let's just take them as they come along here. We got a response from ID2, which is a have role assignment. We haven't specified any selections, and we can see for this user that we requested for has 3, 4, 5 app role assignments. Not very interesting. For the response ID number 3, which was OAuth permission grants, we have 0 results. For ID number 1, where we requested our manager, we got the ID, display name, job title. And for the final one,
we got all users.
Yeah. Let me just do this instead. Because what we can also do is, we could actually just say, well, ID equals, was it 4?
4, yeah.
Let's just assign that to a variable for easy. Looking at the headers, actually, my bad. Looking at the body, we will have the next link that we would need to request. So you can build up that it actually handles next request, but it has to be custom code that you built yourself.
Can you do a dependency stuff also? So you say like ID 1 is getting this result back and you're putting it into result 2. Is that also possible? Okay, nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Getting to it.
Perfect.
But just to show that you have the next link. So the result limit is the same as if you're hitting the default endpoint. It is handled the exact same way. You can just launch 20 queries at once instead of having to do 20 different API calls.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually also what I wanted to show here with the earlier exam lighted in the command line. But yeah, if you want to select a specific ID, you just have to say where object and then expand the property body. Then you have your value like you would used to have from the invoke REST method on the given endpoint. So it is a bit extra work, but you get a lot better performance out of it. If you have a large environment, at least. But yeah, let's move on to dependencies, because that is also something that can get quite annoying. And let's just look at the manager direct reports just to make sure that we actually have some here. We have a couple direct reports, I believe. We only have one. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
But what we could do with this, we could say, for example, the CEO of the company, get all of the direct reports. Then we could go into the direct reports and continue down that path until you get every user and get a complete organizational tree delivered to you. For this one, I'm only looking at one specific direct report and then just building up some data on that specific user. I know from my company, at least, as an IT person, I have absolutely no overview about which users has which app role assignments and which applications they have granted consent to in regards to user read and open email and offline profile and all that stuff. So something that can be really nice is get a list of all the managers, get all of their direct reports, look at the auth permission grants, and then send the manager a report on, hey, Konstantin has consented to this application called Haxa, and what they have given access to. Of course, you'll have to translate it because the manager is most likely not an IT guy, or girl for that matter. But just letting you know that it is a possibility.
Nice.
Moving on to depends on. Depends on, as soon as you specify one in your query, you have to do it on all of your subsequent queries. So as soon as you use depends on, it has to be on every single one of these ones, except for the first one. But even if you create, let's say 7 or 8 or however many you might need in a given graph request or batch request, you have to specify depends on. If it isn't there, you'll get an error if you have specified it one place. And what the depends on actually does. It says that this specific graph request is not allowed to be run before this one. And if this one fails, for some reason, all the subsequent ones that depends on ID1 is not run either. So if, let's say we just count up here. Let's just take it to 4. Let's say the one with ID1 is successful. Super. Damn. ID2 works great. ID3 works great. Number 4 fails. This one won't run. Because number 4 ID, it failed. Now we have number 6. It will run because it depends on number 1. Number 7 will run as well because it also depends on number 1. But what this also does, when you specify depends on, then they won't all run at once. Instead, they would run sequentially. So first it will run number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. So that can slow down performance on doing batch request a bit. So just letting you know as a bonus information.
But this is not capable of, so if you, for example, have just like this, you have a user and you want to have a batch request. The first batch request is get the user, and the second batch request is get all devices of that user. So you are not able to forward what is the result of the first endpoint to your second batch request. Correct?
That is unfortunately correct. I knew where you wanted to go, and I have wanted to go the same exact route.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that is not possible.
So they're totally separate requests.
Yeah.
Okay.
You cannot use the data from this endpoint in this request.
Okay.
You'll have to do that after you receive the data. Unfortunately.
Okay.
I wish I could nest it and then just say, hey, for this one, I just want number 1, and I want the, I don't know, display name. I wish I could do that. Unfortunately, that is not possible.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be awesome. I would love to see it. But yeah, let's just try and run this and see what we end up with. Nice. Now we added a bit extra, but it should be okay. Especially because the result is blank. But basically, it is the exact same data as the one previously. So it's just to say that you can write multiple requests here. And just to show the example of if one fails, let's just do something like this. Typing something gibberish in the URL and seeing how much data we get returned.
Okay.
And it was in request number 3. So this one is number 1, which worked. Number 2 also works. Number 3 failed. And number 4 failed a dependency. So this one was not run because number 3 failed. And number 5, which depended on number 4, that request didn't fail, but it failed a dependency, so number 5 will also fail a dependency. And number 6, I would actually believe should have run, but I guess I'm wrong. But that is the part of running sequentially. So even though I said that it depends on number 1, because the previous one failed, it will just result in a failed dependency. So the depends on doesn't necessarily reflect on which endpoint you actually want it to depend on. So you'll have to put it in order of operations. So if you have a number 1 here that only depends on number 1, put it up together with that one instead of having it below the 4th layer.
Okay. Cool.
That's all I had to bring.
This? Oh, nice. Nice.
So any questions? Any final comments?
Thank you for presenting. You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
I think I stretched the time a bit more than than I thought it would take, but
yeah. We have time. We have still 15 more minutes, so definitely good. So Jan, the comment very useful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Got lots of new ideas. That's what user groups are for.
And I mean, personally, if you don't have to use batch request, I mean, if you only have a small script where you're requesting 1 or 2 endpoints, I wouldn't bother with doing a batch request. But as soon as you're requesting from more than, let's say, 5 endpoints, I would definitely start considering putting it into batch request. Or even, I know I'm not sure if any of you guys have heard of the module, but a guy called Josh Lieben
Okay.
has released a module called M365 Permissions.
Okay.
Um,
I don't think. Yeah. I know him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Wrote a bit.
Yeah, he wrote some cool blog posts where I got some information about. Around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's a 360 overview of your environment.
Nice.
The intra part of getting permissions was running really slow. Personally, for my work tenant, we have about, I think, 40,000 users, 50,000 maybe.
Nice.
Have about 80,000 guest users as well.
Okay.
It's a nightmare, believe me. When I cleaned it up, or rather before I cleaned it up, I think we had 120.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Which is why it's in the example as well. But just to let you guys know, I don't actually remember where it is, but I believe it is in the latest release. But just to tell the story, till it's done. Before version, I think it's 1.2.2, it didn't run with batch request, and it took more than 4 hours, I think, before I got a result in my tenant.
Okay.
So I had a look at the code and asked Joe if it was okay to add some batching, and that got it down to running in, I think it was 20 minutes.
Nice. Nice. So everyone in the call, it's so easy to contribute to an open source project. Just ask the maintainer and then you can code something and everyone profits from this. Nice. So Jan was asking hybrid or cloud only. I don't know. Was it the question for the module or was it some other stuff?
It won't get any permissions from on-prem. This module specifically is only to get a 360 overview in cloud.
Nice.
But yeah, by my comment, I tested with about 50k users, and it took 15 minutes to generate the report. So even the Excel actions takes quite a bit, and getting all the data took 20 to 25 minutes.
Nice. Cool. Then there were some changes done, and then you get merged. Nice.
It didn't get merged because Joe, just even had some issues modifying my request.
Oh my God.
So he closed it and then opened a new one. So
okay.
Didn't even get credit on the contributors.
But you worked in the product. Nice.
Yeah.
So congrats on this.
And thank you.
So any other questions? Any other comments or so?
If you're better at reading text or need some follow-up on some of the stuff we covered, I'll just give a link to my blog post. And I've gone into tags for MSGraph. There's a little bit on authentication, and then there's also a few topics covering filtering, both advanced and some basic, some advanced filtering, and also batch request.
And we are having the same theme on our blog. Definitely.
Cool.
I have this
like
theme
the
also.
Yeah, the chirpy theme is quite awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you for hearing this, Jan. Definitely cool. Morten will be on next month also with another topic. If you want to say what topic are you on next month, you can definitely tell. So what's your topic for next month?
Next month topic is a module I created myself. after a presentation in the PDQ podcast or
Nice.
Discord channel on sending adaptive cards or actionable messages, as they're called in Exchange language. It basically allows you to send out an adaptive card directly to your user's Outlook.
Oh,
So instead of having them go to a link and fill in a form, they get the form directly in their email.
oh, cool.
And this can definitely be adapted to whatever you need in regards to requesting information. I mean, my company is big enough where the IT doesn't necessarily own the servers that are deployed. They just deliver them. And then some companies or externals or internals create an application and never update the server.
Okay.
Sometimes we just need an updated information on the server, need to know if this server is still needed, need to know if we can decom it, need to know if we can help with upgrading the server to a new OS. Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Nice, cool. So looking
Just
forward
a little sneak peek.
to next month. Yeah, nice. And just also a sneak peek what sessions will be there and then till December. So let's see. We definitely have some Winget stuff. We have some authentication stuff to Entra ID. We will have PowerShell Universal also on. So if you want to join, definitely do. I will announce it. And yeah, definitely next month you will know what to expect. But for the other topics, I will announce it. And yeah, thank you for listening. And
Thanks for having
everyone.
me.
Yeah, thank you for speaking. And yeah, have a nice evening, everyone. And see you next month.